Okay, so for developing an equation, we're really working backwards of our ideas. Everybody has their slip of paper here. That would look like that. All the forms. We're going to have to put it into an equation. So every other time I've been working with you, I've given you the equation and then we do stuff with it. So now we have to work to get the equation. Okay, I'm actually, for question 1, I picked 2 methods. I'm not even going to do that one. Okay, we're going to think graphically. If we have a vertex at 2, -4, 2, -4 is a vertex, and then I have a point called 4, 4. Can you visualize your shape? That's what happened to it. The vertex, and then we had a point somewhere, so we have to be going up. Okay, here's my question for you. How did you get from here to here? What did you do? How much did you have to move over and up? That's kind of what I want to know. How did you get there? Did you go over 2, and then did you have to go up 8? Would that make sense? Is that normal? So I'll draw the normal chart. This is the normal chart. 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. Did you do normal? No. So if I go over 2, I should actually only go up 4, but I went up 8. So what would be my slope be? That's what I'm kind of thinking. That's what I'm doing. What did I have to multiply by? Would we agree the slope is going to be 2? You should have gone up 4, but you went up 8. Okay, so how do I get an equation? There you go. That's what you need. You need slope and vertex. So get your slip of paper out. It doesn't matter to me if you're going to pick transformation or standard. Okay? I am going to pick standard, okay? So I'm going to put the slope there. Okay, I just put my y's and I put my x's in there and I put my slope in there. Okay, when I put the vertex in to this form, do you remember this is opposite and opposite? So vertex. So there's a 2. So I'm going to go subtract 2. Here's a -4. So I'm going to go +4. And that's an equation. If you picked transformation form and you had this on the end, you would have had subtract 4 on the end, right? If you had anybody picked that one. Okay, number 2. You know a quadratic has x-intercepts at 5 and -4. Develop an equation in general form. Okay. Who remembered how we got x-intercepts? Factoring. We factored and then we got x-intercepts. Does that make sense? That's what we did. We were factored and then we got an x-intercept. Can you work backwards from that idea? Okay, so here I go. If x was 5 and x was -4, what were the factors above that then? We're working backwards. So what kind of factor? So like this. What had to be inside the brackets? x minus 5 and x plus 4. And then I'm supposed to get it in general form. So I'm supposed to make it look like this. Would anybody know how I could go to the step above this yet? What? Foil it. Yeah. Heard it. Foil it. So x squared does that look like general form? So do you see how we worked completely backwards? Foiling and factoring are the opposite of each other. Okay, if I have this as an answer, I have a half point off. Anybody can find my mistake. Why would you give me a half point off of my answer? What? I'm missing, look at what the question said. Develop an equation. That's what it said. Is this an equation? Well, there's no equal sign, so I would need a y equals. Okay, so I would deduct you points if you forgot that. Okay, so this time I gave you coordinates in a table of values. Can you spot a place that is alone and would never have a partner, and you're looking for a place that it's symmetric on the sides of this? So look for a coordinate where there's partners on the sides of it. Can you find something? I'm picking this spot. Did anybody find that? Because look at what's on both sides of the 5. 3 and a 3. That's a pair around the 5. What else do we have? Is that a symmetric pair? You see the symmetry? If I kept going, would you see that this should be what? 4 and a negative 13, right? See how it would keep going? Okay, so here's your vertex. 1, 5 is your vertex. That's one piece of information. Okay, ready? What did you do? How did you move from 1 to 2? You went over 1. What are you doing when you move y of a 5 to a y of a 2? What happened physically? You went down 2. Can anybody tell me what my slope is if that's going to happen? If you're going to move over 1 and then down 2, what would your slope have to be? Negative 2? Would that make sense? Do you want to check it out? Look at your next jump. So I'm going to go from 1 to 3. That's over 2, and what happened here? How did you move from a 5 to a negative 8? Down 8. 1, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9, right? Is normal? When I went over 1, I actually went down 2. When I went over 2, I actually went down 8. So like, what is happening to the slope? Can you get me an equation? Here's your two big things, slope and vertex. Write it into a equation. Okay, I'm picking standard form again. So here's a y, here's an x. So that's kind of the form. Leave your y's and your x's. Fill in your a. So your slope is negative 2. Your vertex, so this equation tells me opposites. So I should have a subtract 1 here and a subtract 5 there. So do you see that what I'm doing is I'm always saying, what's the vertex, what's the slope? I can work with that as soon as I have that. Okay, same thing. Can you find a vertex on this table? Is there a coordinate somewhere where symmetry is going around it? Find a coordinate that's all alone and then partners on the sides of it. This is the spot I picked. -2, 5. Is that the spot you picked? Because I saw a 4 on that side of it, and then there's a partner on that side of it. Okay, so we know vertex is -2, 5. Can you think about what would happen in a pattern? So let's go just between this one and then this one. So what happened here? That's an over, that's x. So I went over 1. To go from there to there, that's just an over 1. And then to go from 5 to 4 heights, these are y's, that would make you move down 1. So what is your slope? If you went over 1 and then you went down 1, your slope is? Did you pick -1? Do you want to check it out? This makes me move over 2 and then down 4. Okay, so that makes sense, right? Okay, get me an equation. There's all you need. Vertex, slope. Write it in something from your formula sheet. So leave your x's and y's alone, and then fill in the positions for your A and your vertex. You always fill in the slope and the vertex spots. Okay, the next question. That was good? There's your answer. Next question gave me transformations, and now I got to put that into equation. So first is, my quadratic got flipped. What do you know? What do you know? A has to have a negative number. Then there was a shift that went 2 units to the right. So which spot should I change? So we can work in this transformation form. Should I change the H spot or the K spot? Shifting right. Which one does that? The H spot. So I'm going to say, like, in brackets x 2. Would you do a +2 or a -2 to go to the right? Minus, because it's looking at the formula, opposite. And it got narrowed. So A is going to be something that's bigger than 1. And it told me heading over 2 made me go up 12. Okay, so here's my chart. One, 1, 2, 4, 3, 9. When I went over 2, it said not 4, it said 12 instead. On my chart, it said over 2 actually went up 12. So what is the multiplication factor happening? Would you agree that I'm going to have to multiply by 3? Okay, so we have this. We have 3 things. We need a negative, we need a bracket number, and a multiply by 3. So y equals -3 brackets There we go. We filled in what we needed. We needed a negative a, and we needed to narrow with a 3, and then that is that criteria. Okay, all the info we know, working it backwards. Last question. This time I just gave you a plain old graph. So, can you write the max here? The vertex is the max. What is the coordinate? Looks like 3, 5. Okay, can you put the 3 and the 5 in where you would want to put them? I'm looking at my pink slip of paper again. I'm in standard form. So I made it look like this. There was my Y spot, my X. Where would you put a 3 and a 5? Would you put them in opposite? Would you put them in same? So there's your vertex. And then we got to figure out slope. Well, I already know it's negative, right? Look at that. I'm negative something. I already know that because I flipped. Can you find me another coordinate? Looks like there's something right there. So what kind of pattern happened there? Would it make sense that I went over 1, down 2? Over 1, down 2. So if you're heading over 1 and then down 2, that's your slope.